Hey, 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 it's John Robinson, Tuesday Talks, and we're live. I believe we are. Let's go ahead and check our comment. If you guys don't mind, go ahead and drop a little note. Let me know you can hear me, see me, all those good things. It's a great, great bit of work to put all this stuff together. So I like it. Don't get me wrong, but boy, sometimes I'm like, okay, I hope you guys show up. So appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, Andy says he can hear me perfect. Andy, I know I can always count on you to be here and to hang out with us. Hey, there's Kevin too. Cool, cool. It's my two faithful friends right there. I know those guys will show up every time. Which I guess what that means is they're either super faithful guys, or they just got nothing else better to do on a Tuesday afternoon. So. Okay, Andy's got questions coming right into it. Perfect. Guys, before we get started, I want you to do me a big favor. If you haven't already subscribed, then please go ahead and make sure you hit the subscribe button. And also, as I get to Andy's question, it's Tuesday Talks. We talk about real estate related stuff. We talk about mindset. We talk about business. We talk about pretty much things that are pertaining to real estate entrepreneurship. It doesn't have to be real estate related, but if you're new to the show today, and even if you're watching the replay later on, I always go back and read the comments. So if you have a question about flipping, wholesaling, land deals, how to do a lease to own option, how do you set up, a seller carry, what is subject to, all of this stuff, it's a really big deal. And I want you guys to, go ahead and ask your questions, right? I know there's a lot of different resources out there. Sorry, I'm looking down. My son is actually out on one of my jobs right now, and he's texting me a question about something. So while I'm watching, let's see here. Quentin says it got us live again. Notifications are working. Perfect. Quentin, glad to have you back again, man. If you have a question, feel free to ask it. That's Quentin, I believe the realtor, right? Yeah, the agent, Quentin, the agent. So Quentin, remind me again, I think, are you in the Portland, Vancouver area? I couldn't remember where you're at. Just going to text this real quick to my son, and bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. I was hoping I could get this done before the broadcast, but he was waiting to get into a lockbox. And okay, let's see. Okay, cool. All right, we're done. I'm back with you guys. Quentin says yes, he's in the Portland metro area. By the way, I don't know if you guys know it or not, but I have a growing community in southern Idaho. We have a pretty solid group in the Portland area, pretty much anywhere in northwestern Oregon, southwest Washington. And I also have a group that I don't talk a lot about here on this show, but I might as well go ahead and mention it because I've noticed that there's actually a trend. I'm seeing a Portland to Pensacola connection. I'm watching that. Years ago, I lived in Pensacola when I went to when I actually was training for ministry. If you guys don't know it or not, but I actually am an ordained minister, so I can marry, I can bury, we can do counseling. I've actually got somebody that just met the other night at the PDX REI group meetup on last Thursday night, which was an awesome meetup, by the way. If you guys were there at the meetup, drop in your comments. Let us know how you thought things went. I thought it was a great turnout, great meetup. It had a really good vibe going on. But I met a guy there that unfortunately just his mother just passed away not too long ago. And so we talked a little bit about that. We're going to talk again. So the point is, this show, Tuesday Talks, is for you guys. The PDX REI group meetups is for you guys. The PDX REI group, the Treasure Valley Real Estate group, Facebook communities, the Pensacola Off-Market Properties or Deals group, that's all for you guys. And you all, if you're down south, you got to say y'all, you guys are invited. You're welcome to post in there, to do deals in there, to ask questions in there. Get in there and ask the questions that you have. And if you have something that you really want to see answered, then you come on Tuesday Talks and we talk about it. So I'm going to start with Andy today. Andy says, how difficult are the reverse mortgages? Which are better to target? Lower, high equity, interest rates matter, sub 2 as possible. Okay, Andy, you got a ton of questions going on there right there. So when I see a question like this, first thing I always think about is when it says, how difficult are reverse mortgages? Okay, so what exactly are we talking about, right? So we want to always make sure we clarify the question before we start jumping into the answer. So Andy, if you can give me a little more feedback on what exactly do you mean by how difficult? So is it difficult for a homeowner to get a reverse mortgage? Obviously, there's age restrictions. Is it difficult to buy a property with a reverse mortgage on it? No, it's not. In fact, I'm buying one right now out in Cornelius, and this is with somebody else in my network. By the way, you guys, I love doing deals together with you. So if you guys want to do deals with me, dodealswithjohn.com. Should have some information over there. And I think that website was down for a minute, so I got to talk to Josh Hayes and find out if that's back up. But dodealswithjohn.com, you can go over there, and there's lots of different ways to actually do deals together. But if you guys know anything about, I have kind of a niche where I work with seniors, and I have a network of people that I've trained, very small. These are very specific type of people, and I train them to work in the senior space, specifically to basically provide a service that eventually ends up being kind of a backdoor for some really, really good leads. So we got one of those leads we're closing on. I think it's December 15th. We're supposed to be closing on that deal in Cornelius, Oregon. And that property has a reverse mortgage on it. So I don't know that there's a better or a worse to target, although I guess if you're getting into kind of stacking your really qualifying your list that you're going after, maybe that's what you're talking about. We got Andy here. He says already in reverse mortgage, active and expired listings. Okay. So if it's already has a reverse mortgage on the property is what you're asking, Andy, and you're asking, is it better to target the high equity or low equity? Well, let's talk about what a reverse mortgage is just real briefly, kind of a quick little summarization. So obviously everybody knows what a mortgage is, where you go and you borrow enough money to buy a property or to maybe pull out some cash. A reverse mortgage it effectively says, hey, your house is worth, first of all, it's for seniors, right? So age restriction on this. So reverse mortgage says your house is worth $400,000. We will actually loan back to you, typically in some kind of a small chunk, like an installment or a down payment, and then actually installment payments every month paid back to the owner. And so this is going to be a really, really good product. I shouldn't say really, really good, but it's definitely an option for senior homeowners who are on a very fixed income, and maybe they need a little bit of money up front to do some stuff in the house, maybe change out the bathrooms, put in a grab bar, change out the tub into a zero curb shower, all that kind of stuff, right? So they say, hey, we're going to give you a little chunk of money to do the work on your house, and then we're going to pay you every single month for the next, 15 years up to a certain amount. If your house is worth $400,000, we'll pay you in installments up to, like, say, $350,000, whatever. And so when you're talking about, Andy's asking the question, should we target high equity? That'd be maybe the reverse mortgage just started and there's still a pretty big chunk of equity, or to target low equity. So maybe it's been paid out all the way to the max and there's really not a lot of equity left. In today's market, there might be negative equity, right? So there actually are deals out there like that. And so Andy's asking, Andy with Renovate Guys, obviously if you guys are looking for handyman, bathroom, tub, shower, switch it out. He does tile, he does all kinds of stuff. So a little plug for Andy, but Andy's asking, is it better to target high equity or low equity when it comes to reverse mortgage? And the answer to that question, Andy, is, ready for it? Drum roll. The answer is it depends. Okay. So it depends on what is your actual intended takedown process, right? So if you're going after sub twos, well, then it's not bad to target low equity, right? Because they don't have a lot of room. They're probably not going to sell. Remember that a lot of times these reverse mortgages can have stipulations in there to where if they're probably almost all going to have some kind of stipulation there that says, hey, if grandma, grandpa, mom or dad, this senior who's basically responsible for this mortgage, if they pass away, then this note is due. Okay, so that's not kind of one of those things that you want to keep in mind. So there are some, I want to say, tricks about it. There's some nuances about it. I don't know that I would actually go for that particular product as a list that I would really focus on. But I certainly think that it's good to have, you kind of know what some options are if you do end up getting into a deal like that. The reason I don't know if I go after it as a specific, targeted group of people is because a couple of different reasons. For one, if they have a reverse mortgage and there is still higher equity, in other words, they haven't actually been paid out a lot yet, then it's very likely that either they just got the mortgage, the reverse mortgage, or they are, excuse me, I got a little something in my eye here. They either just got it, or they're kind of happy with where it's at. And think about this, like they're in their own home. They are getting payments every single month, right? And they already know, like, this is a time of life where this is kind of our last hurrah, so to speak. Like, we're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything else after this. We just want to be at home, be comfortable, and have a nice little bit of money coming in every month to pay the bills and do the things and buy grandkids Christmas presents and all that stuff. So why do I bring that up? Because in my opinion, the best deals in the market, doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter if it's Oklahoma, it doesn't matter if it's Okaloosa, it doesn't matter if it's Ohio, it doesn't matter where it's at, it doesn't matter if it's Oregon. The best deals in the market are going to be motivated sellers. So just because they have a reverse mortgage does not actually imply motivation. In fact, it might actually imply a lack of motivation because they've already got a solution in place. They're getting paid. They're at home. They don't want to leave. So I don't necessarily go after that particular list. Now, everybody's welcome to do what they want. It's America. It's a semi-free country. I say it all the time. It's a semi-free country. You can do what you want. Now, I personally like to do stuff that's not a waste of time, right? And so I like to go after, if you will, I like to have a specific target in mind of highly motivated sellers. So, and I have not found that a lot of reverse mortgage borrowers are highly motivated. It's just my opinion. Like I said, we have one right now we're working on, about $100,000 of equity in it. If you got the house fixed up, it wouldn't take much to fix it. We're talking about throw down some LVP flooring, paint the walls, maybe swap out the kitchen countertops, put in like a solid surface, and you're pretty much ready to go back on market. That one there, super easy, super turnkey. If you put about, I don't know, let's say $15,000, $20,000 worth of work into it, you'd probably get another easily $50,000 to $60,000 out of it. So we got some really good margins on this. And that seller, they have to move though, because of health reasons, complications. They do have a reverse mortgage on it. And the adult children are aware that every month that they have that mortgage paying out, that's another, their equity is getting eaten up. So they want to sell it quickly so they can get mom and dad on Medicaid, and that's a whole different thing. But so that's one I'm working on right now. So the answer to the question, Andy, I don't know if that answers it really well or not, but basically I don't have a particular one I go after because I don't target reverse mortgages. I deal with them if they come up, but I don't go after them specifically. So hopefully that helps you. All right, let's see what else we got. You guys have a question? Drop it in. Put it here in the chat. Let me see what the comments are. We got the time together, right? We're here. We have this Tuesday talk set up just for you guys, just like the PDX REI group meetups, just like the Treasure Valley Real Estate Investor Group meetups we're going to start having in January 2026, just a month or so away. Isn't that crazy? Like January 2026 is just a couple of months away. I mean, 1.5 months. Good night. Less than 6 weeks away or something like that, right? So if you guys are in the Boise community, Nampa, Caldwell, anywhere kind of out in this area, Southern Idaho, please let me know because we're going to start doing a monthly meetup, and I want to get the word out to as many people as possible. But the PDX REI group monthly meetup, if you're in the Portland area and you're not coming to the meetup, then what are you doing? Like, where are you? It's every third Thursday. Why aren't you there? We had a great meetup just the other night, so I had a really good time. Okay, let's see. Hey, there's Monica. Monica was there. Yeah, Monica came all the way out from Clackamas. Okay, let's see here. What else we got? Oh, there's Peter. Hey, Peter, good to see you, my friend. Okay, here's a question from Quentin. Guys, if you have questions, drop them in there. I'll get to your questions in a minute. Quentin says, for beginners, what's the best way to estimate rehab costs? Okay, cool. Very good question, Quentin. Guys, I am going to let you in on a little secret. 2 little secrets, actually. 2 little secrets that you'll be so happy to know this that you're just going to be tickled pink, okay? So how many of you guys want me to let you in on not just one, but on 2 secrets at the same time that are going to really help you on estimating rehab costs? If you guys want to know my 2 secrets, then drop a 1 in the comments. I want to see a 1 in the comments. And I want to know that you guys are still with me. You're still listening. Drop a 1 in the comments and I will get to this. So by the way, if you're watching later at home too, go ahead and drop a 1 in the comments and we'll make sure you guys get this. All right. Quentin says 1. Perfect. I see that. Okay. We got at least one person. Okay. Quentin wants to see 1. And if you want to see my 2 secrets when it comes to renovations estimates, and you're going to be you're going to be like, I can't believe that's so simple. But I think this is really cool. Okay. Andy says 2. He says 1, not 1, but he wants both of them. He wants 2. Okay. So first off, I want to show you guys something that is really, really helpful if you're dealing with a seller or someone who's interested in possibly selling their house and they are not sure what it's going to cost to get the house fixed up. Like every once in a while, and I want to qualify this. Every once in a while, meaning for me at least, and it's only every once in a while that I have this happen. But every once in a while, I have a homeowner who's like, hey, I want to sell the house, but I think we could probably get more money if we fix it up. I just mentioned a deal in Cornelius. If they put $20,000 into it, they'd probably get 50, 60 more out of it. Well, that's generally true with certain things. With other things, it's not true at all. In other words, we think sometimes that if we put money into the house, then it's going to guarantee you to sell the house for more money. And so I actually have something that I stumbled on years ago that I use to talk to sellers, okay? And when I say talk to sellers, I mean that I'm doing this to show them, if they really want to know why, we want to know, like, we think we could actually get more money if we would do this, that, and the other. A lot of times this has, hey, there's Corbanzo. Cool. All right, cool. So if you guys want to know how this works, I'll show you what I use. Okay, I'm going to see if I can share my screen with you. Give me 1 second. Okay, share my screen. And I'm going to select the window. I'm just going to go the entire screen. Okay, it's for a minute. It's going to get all wonky, and then it'll go back. Okay, so hang out with me, guys. Okay, right there. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, if you can, I want you guys to go next time you're talking or next time you have a chance to sit down in front of a laptop, go to cost versus vs value.com. Okay, cost vs value.com. Okay. Now, what this is this is a website that is put together by Home Remodeling or Remodeling Magazine. If you guys are at Home Depot, down at Lowe's, you're standing in the checkout line, not the contractors, but with the homeowners. There's going to be a bunch of magazines and stuff, and every once in a while you see this Home Remodeling Magazine. And so what you have here in this website, and they've put this together. This is kind of an aggregated, look at this. This is so cool. We compare average cost for 28 remodeling projects with the value those projects retain at resale in 119 U.S. markets. So this is a huge, huge study that's put together. They do it every single year. So you can go by the year, right? 2025. Let's just say, because Quentin asked the question, he's a realtor in the Portland market. So let's go over here to choose the region. And it's not super specific, but it's close enough. So we got the Pacific region, right? And we're looking at the Pacific region. What we can even get more specific. We can go down here. I think, well, Portland used to be in there, but Portland is such a, well, there's words that come to mind, but we're not going to use the word there. Portland is a crap show. Okay. So they took Portland off, but let's just go ahead and use, for instance, well, we could use Medford, Oregon, but realistically, Seattle, Washington might be a closer comparison, right? So if you're going to do a specific city, you can just actually use just don't pick a city, just use the Pacific region. But now here's what's cool. You can get cost versus value. You can download this sheet, and it has all of these things kind of in a graph and a chart. And when you do that, it's going to ask for your email address, but you don't have to sign up for anything. I think they'll send you stuff if you want them to. But what you're going to have here when you do this is you actually have, you have it hidden here, but look at this. You have your entry door replacement. What does it actually typically cost on average? This is for a typical job, right? And they have this information they've aggregated from participating contractors. If you replace the front door with a steel door, average cost, there's some variation here depending on what kind of door you get, but let's just say $2,400, right? Andy, you're probably not charging enough money. I'm just telling you that right now. Corbin, neither are you. As a former contractor, I can say with authority, you guys are probably, but look at this. You have the resale value that the homeowner expect to get out of it. In other words, if you spend $2,400, you'll probably get about $5,000 or $4,000 to $5,000 back. So you'll recoup your cost when you go to sell. Really, really cool tool. Garage door replacement. You can see here, you just kind of faded, but you got minor kitchen remodel. Look at those numbers here. And I don't sign everything up right now, but you can see average kitchen, minor kitchen remodel costs about $28,000. But you get about $30,000 to $38,000 out of it. So you get 118% return on your money. So I bring that up because I want you guys to understand that there's a really cool tool out there that you can use. What I do is I go through this list, and when I'm talking to homeowners, and I say, okay, you guys want to know what it would cost to get your house fixed back up. Here's some numbers. Oops, did it freeze on me? Uh-oh. I have to go. Let me know. Can you guys hear me? See me? Everybody okay? Okay. No? Oh, we don't want that guy. We want this guy here. Okay. So apologize for that. It's all frozen on my end. I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Somebody let me know if you guys can see me, because I'm on my end. It's all frozen up. Oh, rats. Shouldn't have done that. My computer got too overloaded and it decided to. Okay, let's see. Stop. What if we do that? Okay. Now does it work? Frozen. Corbin says you can see me. Frozen. You guys can hear me, but you can't see me. Okay. Well, maybe that's a blessing in disguise, right? Let me see. Let me try one thing real quickly and try to. My screen. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Oh boy, what did I do? I done messed up. Nope, still the same. Frozen. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do, guys, but that's what I said. This entire thing is kind of a pain. I should have never shared. That was a big mistake. I knew it was not the right thing to do, and I did it. Okay. But we could still talk, and I'm just going to piddle around with this and see if I can actually get it to work. But the point that I was trying to say, and Andy's got it right. If you guys can see on the screen, most of the time it sells faster than higher if it looks good. So getting faster sale and actually getting a potentially more money is actually that's the whole reason why anybody would actually put the money into the project, right? But what I do is I use that website that caused my screen to just freeze up. I use that website to actually get the homeowner's mind wrapped around how much it's actually going to cost them to do this. Okay. And the thing is, let's see, GLC drop down. Yeah. Cost versus value. That's right, Monica. So glconline.com is a website that I have a really hard time remembering. So I just go by the cost versus value.com, costvsvalue.com. In fact, I'll just post it in here. Cost vs value.com. Okay, that's one website that I use to talk to sellers. Okay, now let me go back over here and try that. It's just done froze up on me, and it's frustrating because well, it's not supposed to be doing that. So I wonder if I refresh. Let's see here. Now, guys, should I do it? Should I refresh? Oh boy. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can share this. I have a whiteboard I was going to show you guys. No, not that. That might work. Oh boy, this is where you need an actual tech person to be doing this stuff, and I need someone I can co-host here. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that screen? It's kind of a different screen. Anybody see that? Yes, no, maybe so. Visual effects. Well, my computer is acting slow, and I can't even see if you guys can hear me still. Okay, no, you can't see that. You can't see that. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to stick with the frozen screen, guys, and I'll go through this, Quentin, to answer your question, and we might have to. I'm gonna refresh here in just a minute, but before I do that, just in case I lose you guys, what I was gonna say is Quentin, that's the tool that I use, cost versus value, when I'm talking to homeowners. So there's two different tools we use. One is the tool that we use to talk to the homeowner, because in all reality, the homeowner is going to have to pay more than we would pay as a contractor, right? So as a contractor, I'm not going to pay the same cost that a homeowner is going to pay if they're doing their own project, right? So in other words, a homeowner is going to go out, they're like, we want to update the house. Well, they might have a cousin or a friend or a neighbor that does renovations, but for the most part, homeowners are going to be having to hire contractors. Those contractors are going to be needing to make a living to do the work they're doing. And so they're typically, if they're working for homeowners, they're typically going to be charging closer to retail prices. Does that make sense, guys? If you guys can hear me still and that makes sense, type in retail in the comments. Retail, because that's what most homeowners have to pay, right? So type in retail so I can make sure you guys are still with me. Okay. So retail is not what we want to be paying if we're looking at what's this going to cost for us to do it ourselves. Okay. So the question that came up from Quentin was, if you're trying to figure out as a beginner, like what are the costs, how do we estimate the rehab costs on this? Then it's nice to have a cool little tool. One, if we're going to talk to the homeowner to say, well, hey, it's going to cost you about X amount. It's going to cost you about $2,400 to put in a new front steel door by the time it's all said and done. Now, you'll get a little bit more money out of it, but the question is, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, do you have $2,400 to spend, right? That's a fair question, okay? So by the way, Monica says question looking at this, like cost versus value doesn't really work out for the seller in the long run. So exactly. So there's one of the things that you can do is actually say, hey, if you look at this on average, if you're doing a whole entire remodel on your house, I'm not really sure if this is actually worth putting into this property, because frankly, you might not get this money back out of it, right? That's one of the things that you want to actually keep in mind. So oh, wait a second. Hold on a second. We got Andy sending me stuff. Cool. Okay. Andy says, toggle the camera off. I tried doing that. Click the camera icon inside. I will see. Let me see if I can find that, Andy. Click the camera icon inside. Turn it off for 3 seconds. Okay. We're going to try that. I'm going to leave it alone. If the camera feed was stuck, this resets it. We can also go to settings. Let me just try this and see if it comes back on. Nope, still frozen. Okay, so we're going to go to settings, going to choose camera, choose a different camera. Okay, let's try this, see if we have any. No, don't want to do that. Guys, we're just trying. Andy's giving me some instructions here that he thinks might be helpful. Oh, did we get it? Did we get it? Are we back on? All right, cool. Cool. A little bit. Maybe not as high quality, but Andy, that worked. Thanks, bro. Look at that. You guys give Andy a big hand. Hey, perfect. Okay. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. Now, let me get back to this real quickly so I can just kind of finish this thought, okay? So Monica points out that if you have somebody sitting down looking at a whole entire home remodel, there may not be enough money in this thing in the long run to actually make it worth doing all the renovation work. So if it's like a one-off thing, like say the house is really nice, but they've got a really funky door, or maybe like they've got the dog that scratched the old wooden door, so you're going to change it. Okay, change up the front door. You're going to get your money back. It definitely helps with the curb appeal and stuff, okay? But overall, it's typically not really worth it for a homeowner to pay full retail pricing, which, by the way, guys, just so you know, the costversusvalue.com, think about this. These numbers that they're pulling from these different markets and these different participating contractors, those numbers are coming from probably high to at the very kind of, put it this way, those are contractors that are dealing with type of higher end type of home and clientele, and they're actually participating, and they have vendors and they have resources, and they're actually sharing their numbers, and so they're able to pull that number. Now, a lot of people, kind of a Chuck with the truck type of contractors, you're not going to be talking to, they're not going to be down there talking to JLC Remodeling Magazine and giving them all of their estimates and what they actually made and then tracking it. It's just not happening, right? So what I'm saying is costversusvalue.com is definitely going to be on the higher end, right? This is the higher end of retail pricing for a garage door replacement, for a front door replacement, for a minor kitchen remodel, for a major bathroom remodel. You see what I'm saying? For a replacement of a roof. This is definitely going to be higher end, but that number is a good anchor to help your homeowner. If you're dealing with a homeowner, this is good for wholesalers. This is good for flippers. This is good for real estate agents to say, hey, it could cost you this much money. Now, I don't know for sure if it will, but this is, I like to say this, it's third party. It's not John Robinson. It's not you, Mr. Homeowner, Mrs. Homeowner. This is third party. This is their statistics, and this is pretty much kept up to date every single year. Right? So it's totally up to you. All right. Now, having said that, for us as flippers, as wholesalers, as people like Quentin said, that are just getting started in this business, like, okay, you're trying to get started, and his question was, what's the best way to actually estimate a rehab cost? What I like to do is this right here. It's really simple. Okay. You guys get ready to write this down. In fact, I want you to type it in the chat. Okay. I want you to think about your property, every property you look at, in 3 different grades. Okay. A grade, B grade, C grade. Okay. Now, what does A grade, B grade, C grade represent? I'm glad you asked that. That's such a good question, guys. Thanks for asking that. A grade is, it's like the house I mentioned in Cornelius. It needs very little work to put it back on the market. Okay. Very little work. Okay. So we're talking about, like, you could throw down some LVP flooring or you could not. It's not in bad shape. Okay. But LVP flooring, paint, maybe replace the kitchen countertops, but you don't have to. And the property is ready to go back on market. That's what I call A grade. Or, as I like to define it in terms that, help me understand, that's lipstick. Okay. B grade is going to be beyond that, right? It's going to be, we need new flooring throughout. The whole entire house needs to be repainted. Probably going to need to do something about those cabinets, either paint them or maybe replace them. Right? We're definitely replacing all the hardware in the house, putting in new doorknobs, putting in new countertops. Probably gonna have to pull out that pink or that olive green bathtub in the back master bedroom, and the old tile. Like it needs work, right? That's B grade, okay? And that's what I would call that's makeup, okay? A grade, B grade, that's lipstick or makeup. Now C grade. If the property is C grade, that means it needs a facelift, okay? Ain't no lipstick or makeup going to help that house. It needs a full facelift. Like, get the plastic surgeon on the line, get it scheduled. You're going to be coming out of there looking like, full facelift, right? Why? What is that? That is, we need full entire roof. The house needs to be pretty much gutted. It's got mold, so you're going to take out all the sheetrock. You're going down to wiring. You're changing out paneling. Like, that is a full gut rehab, okay? A grade, B grade, C grade, right? Lipstick, makeup, facelift. Does that make sense? You guys type it in the chat, right? So give me that scenario. A grade, B grade, C grade. Andy Bauman says Andy Bauman says is great. Andy Bauman is great for A, B grade. That's right. C grade, however that helps you remember this. So you're looking at a house and you're like, okay, maybe you're looking on Zillow, right? The pictures. Maybe you got a wholesaler that sent you a list. Maybe you are the wholesaler and you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the numbers? So with that in mind, again, every market's going to be a little different. In other words, these numbers that I'm about to tell you aren't going to be a good fit for Dayton, Ohio. Okay. The numbers I'm going to tell you right now aren't even really a great fit for Pensacola, Florida, although Pensacola has definitely come up in cost. But the point is that if I'm answering the question to Quentin wants to know, as a beginner, how do you get started? How do you actually determine what the rehab cost is, right? A grade, B grade, C grade. Now we attach a number to A grade. My number, my cost, I know I can go in and get stuff done. I'll just show you guys this. My number, let's just say the house is 1,500 square feet, okay? So we got a 1,500 square foot house. Now, my A grade is $25 a square foot, okay? If I know I have to go in and probably put in LVP flooring and I've got to paint, I've got $25 a square foot. See that number right there? I need to figure about $37,000, or I can round up to $40,000 for my estimated renovation costs. Does that make sense, guys? I want to stop. I don't want to go too fast here. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart. Give me a love. Give me a yes in the comments if that makes sense. I talked about A grade, B grade, C grade. These are my costs. What is it going to cost me to go in and do this renovation? Now, somebody, no doubt, is watching right now and saying, are you kidding me? It's not going to cost $40,000 to put in new flooring, LVP flooring, and paint. No, it probably won't. But if I'm estimating, right, and I'm going to and I want to know, how much am I going to have to put into this thing? Wouldn't you rather estimate too much for renovation costs than too little? Just an idea, right? So give me a yes in the comments and this makes sense. You guys help me out because I don't want to move to B grade and C grade if this isn't connecting. So we're talking about how do we determine Quentin asked, what's the best way to estimate rehab costs? In my opinion, the best way to do it is to have a number associated. So when I say 25, what I mean is $25 per square foot. So if it's a 1,500 square foot house, I'm going to use a multiplier of $25. This is for the Portland area. Okay. Oh, the phone's ringing off the hook since we're doing this. If you guys can see. Okay, cool. Everybody can see. Okay, good. Everybody, now we're coming in. Yep. Yes. Everybody's saying yes. Perfect. I just want to, obviously not getting any responses. So I wasn't sure if you guys were able to hear me or not. So we got A grade is $25 a square foot. That means I can figure it's going to cost me about $37,500 to do all the renovations. Now, remember, I'm talking about A grade, not just saying that there's nothing more. No, John said there's nothing more than LVP flooring and paint. You understand? I'm giving you some real generalities here, right? Something you can do a quick takeoff. If a house is in pretty good shape, but you know for sure you're going to have to put in, new flooring. Well, there's a pretty good chance if you're putting in new flooring, you might end up getting into some stuff where you have to replace some base trim, right? If you're painting the walls, then the question comes up, well, am I going to have to paint the ceiling too? Ceiling white, that's a contrast. Are we doing 3 different kinds of paints? Are we doing the trim is a different color? You have 3 different kinds of paint, 3 different sheens. You see what I'm saying? So these costs can add up really quickly. So by the time you do flooring and paint, interior paint on a house, 1,500 square foot house, you're probably going to spend, if you guys are just getting started, especially because that was the question that Quentin asked. He says, hey, for a beginner, right? Maybe you don't have all the connections yet. You haven't figured out how to make deals work with your contractors. You're just trying to figure out what is my estimated rehab cost? A grade, B grade, C grade, lipstick, makeup, facelift. The A grade is $25 per square foot. Okay. Now we get into B grade. This is where we're kind of going through and we're doing pretty much a full update on the house, right? Same house, 1,500 square foot. My multiplier on that is, are you guys ready? Somebody take a guess. What's my multiplier? What's my multiplier on a B grade house? Okay. I want to see if you guys have it. Who's got the closest estimate? A grade means more or less flooring and paint. It's back on market. Okay. B grade is a little bit more. B grade is going to be, of course, flooring and paint, but we're probably replacing some cabinets. We're definitely having to swap out those bathroom vanities, right? Because they're old and dated and kind of nasty. We're probably going to have to pull out that backsplash tile, in the master, maybe even put in a new tile shower surround. Maybe you're going to call Andy and have him come down and do it. So when we talk about what that number is, I'm just curious to see if you guys have it. Okay. I'm just wanting to see before I move on. I figure, okay, my number, this is just based on a lot of deals that I've done, a lot of projects. My number for B grade is $45 a square foot. So 1,500 square foot house, I use a multiplier of $45 per square foot. I can figure I'm going to probably spend about 70 grand on renovating this B grade house. Okay, notice I rounded up. Remember, this is not science. This is not an exact formula. It's just a tool to use, right? I gave you guys one tool for talking to homeowners, cost-versus-value.com. Those costs are way up here, but what are our costs? What do we actually have to factor in? Okay, so if you factor in current costs and all that stuff, I go B grade is $45 a square foot. So A grade is $25 a square foot, right? A grade, I'm going to type it in here. If you guys can help me out and type it in the chat if you're able to. Now, don't do it if you're driving, but we got $25 a square foot. Okay, we got B grade, and that is $45 a square foot. And these are our estimated costs of renovation. In other words, if we go a little bit less than this, then great, right? And then my C grade, now this is, like I said, this is for the full gut job. And by the way, this number is definitely subjective because it can be all over the place. You might get into replacing a sewer line. You might get into replacing all of your siding. This is like everything, right? And so for that, the same 1,500 square foot house for a full, you know, like we're going to take this thing down to the bones and then bring it back to life, right? We're going to take it into the plastic surgeon. Lipstick and makeup couldn't help this one. This one needs plastic surgery. I'm going to come out looking totally different. My number for that is typically about $100 a square foot. A lot of the numbers I like to use are about 90, 95. So I like 25, 45, 95. Okay. Quentin, I'm not sure if that helps you or if you had something more specific, but that's my number. So I'll just drop that in there. A grade, $25 a square foot. B grade, $45 a square foot. C grade, $95 a square foot. Now, here's the thing. If you guys want to go higher than that, you're totally welcome to do it, okay? You don't have to use my numbers. I'm just telling you the numbers that I've grown accustomed to seeing. And so I know. Now, here's what you can have. You can have an A grade house that only needs, you know, lipstick, but it might have a failed septic line, right? It might have a failed line going out to the sewer. So you want to do a sewer scope. You want to make sure you're not getting into something where you thought, man, my budget was supposed to be $37,000, and now we have a $20,000 sewer line repair. And John, his math was way off. You know, this house didn't need anything, and it cost me over 50 grand. Okay, just remember what I told you. This is not an exact science. This is not even a formula. It's just a point of reference to kind of help you size things up. Besides that, Quentin, to get down to the real nitty gritty, I would highly recommend that you have a qualified contractor that you work with in the area that can come in and provide quick, snappy takeoffs. Maybe tell them, I don't want you to break down every single, you know, nail and screw and doorknob. I just want you to kind of give me an estimate for this house. What do you think it will cost to bring it back to life and do the things that you want done in it? So hopefully that helps. Okay, guys, cost-versus-value.com. And then my tool that I use is A grade, B grade, C grade, 25, 45, $95 a square foot. And it can go up from there, right? So you just don't want to just think just the one. Okay. All right. That's what I've got for now. Let's see, what time we got? Boy, we're coming up already close to the end of the hour. So what other questions you guys have? I'm going to go back through and read. Yes, Tyrone. Yeah, way to go, Andy. Thanks for helping us bring back the camera. Appreciate you doing that. Okay, Monica's got a couple questions. She says, certain things are a definite, like new roof. Yeah, right. So certain banks won't give a loan without a new roof. That is correct. So typically, if the appraiser sees or questions the age of the roof, you know, and that is one thing you have to answer. Top. If you're going to sell it and your retail buyer is going to get a bank loan to buy the property, there's going to be things like, what's the age of the roof? Like, what's the furnace like? And so as you look at the roof, the appraiser is going to be factoring in, well, the house might need to have a new roof on it. Well, that changes the valuation of what the property is worth and what the bank will loan on it, right? So they might say, hey, we want to have the roof certified. So you actually have roofers that will come out. And now, how many of you guys know this? If a roofer comes out to certify a roof, do they make more money by saying it needs a new roof, or more money by saying, yeah, it looks like it can get you through another 5-7 years? Do I need to put on the Jeopardy music? Do we have to think about that very long? most of the time, if a roofer comes out to certify a roof, they're going to say it needs to be replaced. Why? Because that's another potential job for them, right? So most of the time, if you're looking at a house that has a fairly dated roof, if it's older than 15 years, it's probably going to have to get certified. And when it does get certified, it's going to probably be recommended that the roof is replaced. So yes, certain things are a definite, but every bank is a little different. I'm not a banker. I don't play one on the internet, and I don't pretend to be qualified to speak for them on what all their requirements are. But I do know that there's certain types of loans, VA, for instance, FHA loans, where you have to have double straps on the water heater. You have to have the roof has to have at least 5 years of life left in it. There's other things that have to be factored in to be able to qualify for that type of a loan product. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. Wanted to talk real quickly. I'm waiting for some more questions to come in. I got a few more minutes. I'm going to wind it down, but I want to talk real quickly about two things. Number one, for the month of December in Portland, we will not be doing a meetup. I want to just put that out there. I'm going to announce it in the PDX REI group. We are not going to be having a meetup, partly because I'm going to be in Arizona with family for a family reunion with my mom and dad, my brothers, my sister. Everybody's coming down from Alaska. My brother's in country from Africa. Mom and dad are coming up from Texas. And we're going to travel down from Idaho to be with the family for Christmas. It happens maybe once every blue moon. Okay. So we won't be doing a PDX REI group meetup, but I did want to say this. If the PDX REI group folks, if those folks in there, if you guys wanted to get together and do some dialing, if you wanted to hang out, I believe that I have access to the room still where we normally meet. So if you guys are interested in doing something like that, just getting together without me being there, let me know and we'll put something together. Okay. That's number one. Number two is I actually have a bunch of things that we're going to be rolling out in 2026. Okay. So I've been working on some stuff kind of behind the scenes, undercover, keeping it hush hush because I want to make sure that that's right and we roll it out the right way. But I've got some really cool stuff that I'm working on for 2026. And one of the things that I'm working on is potentially actually having a newsletter that goes out, a monthly newsletter that goes out every single month to people that just to kind of update on what's going on with real estate, highlight deals, have maybe some breakdowns, some different tools and things like that. So if you guys are interested in something like that, if you guys want to get on my sheet for signing up for that, then I'd like you guys to DM me, okay? Send me a private message. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Most of you do. Go to John Buys Houses on Facebook or John Robinson, or even just say, drop it down here and I'll reply back. But I want to get a response. Like, how many of you guys would actually read a newsletter if we put it out every month? I don't want to do this if there's not going to be anybody reading. It's kind of like these streams, right? I don't want to do the work if it's not actually bringing value to you. But if you thought it would be valuable and you wanted to get on that list, then I need you guys to let me know because if I am going to do it, I'm actually going to publish my first one in January. So I'm working on that right now. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a digital version, of course. I'm not going to send out mailers, at least not yet. Might be fun to start getting a newsletter in the mail every month, right? But this will be digital, but a digital kind of a newsletter from me, and I'm thinking about putting that together. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I've got a bunch of other stuff coming out in 2026, but that one will be coming right out the gate in January. Yeah, Monica, I appreciate that. A family reunion in Arizona. I mean, my 11-year-old daughter is concerned about the Christmas tree. Obviously, like, how do you do, Christmas when there's no snow and all that stuff? I told her we'll get it figured out. But yeah, no PDX REI group meetup in December. If you guys want to get together and actually do something, hey, there's Peggy. Peggy says yes, she would like to get that newsletter. Perfect. I'm going to do it just for Peggy's sake. Nobody else needs to reply. I'm going to do it just for Peggy. So Peggy, I appreciate you. True friend. You guys are great. I love being in Portland with you guys whenever I get a chance to be there. So, okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. If I don't see any other questions have come in. I'm seeing some different messages from different platforms. I'm not sure what exactly this is, if it's a bot or if it's something. Try not to do too much spamming in the chat, guys, if you can help it. But we want to be informative, educational, encouraging, something that kind of gets you fired up, motivational. And also, I got some cool stuff. We're going to be, changing Tuesday Talks format a little bit. You guys will see what I mean here in a couple weeks. But yeah, I love doing this with you guys. As long as it gives value. I've got tons of other stuff to do. So if you guys tell me one day, hey, John, this isn't really worth it, we're not coming anymore, then I'll just stop doing it. We'll do something else. But as long as you guys keep showing up, then we'll just keep on showing up with you. And okay, so Monica has one more question. What if the roof is made by a non-licensed roofer? Would it still count when selling? Well, Monica, it's the internet, so I'm going to be careful what I say, but most banks are not going to know whether who installed the roof, right? So all they want to know is the roof certified? So the truth of the matter is the banks can't really determine who, the work that's done in a house. They can't really qualify that work by saying, hey, did a licensed HVAC installer put in that mini split out there, or was it your friend who does HVAC work and he just did it on the weekend, right? There's no way for them to actually tell that. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. The only time I would worry about a licensed roofer is if I'm actually paying money for a roof, because you want to be careful. Sometimes you get what you pay for. The cheapest roof is not always the best roof, right? And nor is the most expensive roof always the best roof. There's a company in the Portland area. In fact, they work all over the Northwest. DeBest Roofing. They charge an arm and a leg, and they're not necessarily the best. They're using the same exact roofers that everybody else is. They're just subbing it out, but they charge a fortune for a roof that I could put on as someone who just knows some subcontractors. I could put a new roof on for easily under $15,000 for a roof. That same roof, the DeBest Roofing might charge $35,000 to $40,000. I know this personally because I used to had a guy working for me who used to work as a salesman for them, and he quit because he got tired of feeling he was ripping people off. And I just looked at a house last week where they just put a brand new DeBest Roofing on there, $55,000 for a roof that I know for a fact we could have put one on. Not even a really steep pitch, kind of a flat pitch, not too bad, not a huge roof. My guys could have easily put that thing on for under 20. So 20 at the most, $55,000. So yeah, very, very important to make sure you get a couple of different bids when it comes to roofs, and then maybe even make sure that the person you pay and the person who's going to be responsible is also going to be the person putting the roof on, or at the very least that they're working directly for that person. So getting some kind of a guarantee is really important for roofs, especially in Oregon, guys, right? Okay, I think that's it, guys. We're 5 minutes out. It's 55 minutes. I try to keep these short and sweet. We spend this hour. It's every single Tuesday we do this live. If you guys have questions, feel free to post them, and appreciate you all being here. I am looking at sending out a newsletter, so I'll probably be sending out an inquiry for who wants to sign up. I'll need your email address, and that's it. But we'll be sending those out in January if I get enough interest. So you guys let me know if you're watching this later, if you're watching this live, just say, yes, I'd like it, and then send me your email address so I can get you on that list. So, all right, guys, hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully you enjoyed being here. I know I did, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.